There is absolutely no reason to trust Iran. Now there's a comprehensive agreement on Iran's nuclear program. Is it perfect? Well, of course not. No agreement like this ever is. But is it a strong agreement? Yes, it is.
Hillary Clinton earlier today voicing her support for the Iran deal and saying the approach to Iran must be distrust and verify. President Obama maintains he has enough Democrat votes in the Senate to block any opposition to this agreement. And earlier today, very curiously and ominously, Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei tweeted out a message that translates essentially as this, that Israel will not exist in 25 years and that, quote, jihadi heroes will ensure no serenity for the Jewish nation. To talk about this, we call on the director and founder of the Stability Institute, retired Lieutenant Colonel Scott Mann. Scott is also the author of the book Game Changers, Going Local to Defeat Violent Extremists. He joins us from Newsmax, New York, and from Newsmax, Washington, the former Deputy Assistant Secretary to the U.S. Army, Van Hipp. Van authored another book. The name of this book is The New Terrorism, How to Fight It and Defeat It. Van, we just heard Hillary take the famous Reagan line and turn it on its head, distrust and verify. Is there any rationale for that?
I'd go with another Ronald Reagan line. No deal is better than a bad deal. And when I take a look at what's happened here, particularly, J.D., when you look at what we're going to let them do at some point with intercontinental ballistic missiles and intercontinental ballistic development, what are ICBMs used for? To deliver payloads, nuclear payloads, biological payloads. When you take that and then you add to that the fact that we have no land-based missile defense capability, no land-based missile defense capability on the entire east coast of the United States, that's all I need to know. It looks to me like the same people who negotiated the Bergdahl deal just negotiated the Iran deal.
Well, that's an interesting take on it, Van. Let me turn to Scott. Scott, that ominous tweet from Iran's supreme leader. Why do some people dismiss that as just some form of theatrics?
Yeah, I don't know, JD. It's really beyond. I can't figure out why we can't take these guys seriously as a threat. I mean, they have. I've got a lot of buddies that have been killed and maimed, by Iranian-built and sponsored EFP projectiles that came into their vehicles in Iraq. And I'm just taken aback by this. And the other thing, JD, that gets me, I've worked. You were talking about my book, Game Changers. It came out today, and a lot of it is about working in these types of honor-based societies. And, when you come out and you say something like Hillary Clinton did, where you have to distrust, there's no reason to distrust these people, you've got a dead deal. That deal's not going to happen. And for her to say that publicly, it's like open mic night on the presidential campaign. I've never heard anything as amateurish as that.
Well, her rationale is, gee, it's just the best deal we can get. Van, is there anything at all in this agreement that is virtuous or proper or desirable in some way?
Not that we've seen, J.D., and it gets back to a bigger point. We keep sending the wrong message to friends and foe alike. And when we cut the United States Army to pre-World War II levels, when we've got more admirals today than we've got ships, when we throw our allies like Israel under a bus, and now we cut deals with terrorist regimes like Iran. And by the way, there are much broader implications way beyond Iran. Don't forget that North Korea has been in bed with Iran going back to the 1980s, sharing the nuclear technology, sharing missile technology. When you look at the Shahab missile of Iran and begin to take it apart, surprise, surprise, we see the Taepodong missile from North Korea. So what impact is this going to have on Kim Jong-un and his nuclear programs, his missile programs? I think you negotiate from a position of strength. And I think the sanctions were working. And here's a key point, J.D. Go back to 2009. Remember that situation? That regime was teetering. It was teetering. Hundreds of thousands of people in the street.
And there
All
were
we needed
other
to do was pour a
regimes
little kerosene on that situation.
Van, there were
and,
other regimes in that area that were teetering at the same time.
We've got a terrible deal on our hands that I'm afraid is going to come back to haunt this country.
I've got less than a minute, and I'd be remiss, Scott, if I didn't ask you about something else going on, quote, in the neighborhood, Russia. 3 huge military transports into Syria over the past few days. What is Russia up to? An airfield and Russian personnel now in Syria? 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's right, JD. And this is, again, another thing I talk about in Game Changers is with the Russians and the meddling between them and Iran in Syria and in Iraq, we're going to have to reassert ourselves as leaders there. Right now, we're just letting enemies of the state muddle around, and we're going to have to, I mean, literally physically punch these guys in the face if they're going to do this kind of stuff and supply the people that are killing our troops. The other thing is, with this deal with Iran, we are not working with the Sunnis at all, and the Sunnis are being exploited by ISIS, even those who are resisting.
Gents, we will have to leave it right there. Thank you for your insights. There's more ahead here on Newsmax Prime.